This Week in Startups is brought to you by Envision. Find out why so many hot startups are using Envision to prototype, present, and collaborate on design in real time. Sign up for a 90-day free trial today at envisionapp.com/twist. And Squarespace. Start building your website today at squarespace.com. Enter offer code TWIST at checkout to get 10% off. Squarespace. Build it beautiful.
Hey everybody, we've got an amazing episode of This Week in Startups for you. We're doing two things today. One, we're talking to the killer app for the Apple smartwatch. It's from a company called Etch. They won the Launch Hackathon. They crushed it on stage at the Launch Festival, and they released the product, got featured by Apple, and they've had 25,000 downloads in the first week. Incredible company, incredible idea. I think this could actually make the Apple Watch super functional and a must-buy. Then, Ask Jason is back. Yes, you guys have been asking for it. We finally got around to getting some great questions in from our super fans, and I just go right through and rip through a whole bunch of Ask Jason questions that are essential for founders to hear the answers to and to consider. Lots of tools, tips, and techniques in those Ask Jason answers, so stick with us.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey everybody, welcome to This Week in Startups. I'm your host, Jason Calacanis, and we do this show 104 times a year. We literally do not take an episode off. Why is that? Because I love startups. I love entrepreneurs. I love when people create something in the universe. When people say, you know what? I want to see something manifest itself in the world that doesn't exist today. I want to make things a little bit better, more elegant, faster, better, smaller, more delightful. And one of the ways that this happens, at least here in Silicon Valley and in a lot of places around the world, is through an event called a hackathon. What is a hackathon? A hackathon is when a bunch of developers get together for 48 hours, 24 hours, typically, and they just code and they build something. Proof of concept, you could say. Well, I host these here in Silicon Valley, the Launch Hackathon, and we do them every year before the Launch Festival. You guys have heard about these events, I'm sure. If you haven't, by background, the Launch Hackathon is the largest hackathon in the world, and it is the best, if I do say so myself. But no, it's a pretty good hackathon. We do it here in Silicon Valley. I invest in a couple of the winners typically, and it occurs in the weekend before the Launch Festival, which is the largest startup event in the world. The hackathon is magical because the way we run it is we make people apply. And then there's teams of 2, 3, or 4 people, and those teams build something. And then I have the greatest investors and entrepreneurs and technologists judge those products. Today on the program, we have the founder of one of the 5 winners from last year's hackathon. Now, why are we having them on? Well, they emailed me and said, hey, Jason, we really loved being in the hackathon. The winners of the hackathon, those 5 winners, got to be on stage in front of thousands of people at the festival. And you know what? Their product actually shipped. Because a lot of times people go to the hackathon, they have a good time, they get a bunch of free food, they work on a bunch of different projects, they meet a bunch of people, and then they throw the work away. It's just like a proof of concept. It was something fun to do. Just like you might go to a jam session if you were a guitar player. You know, it's not like you're recording it and making an album. But sometimes something comes out of a hackathon that's really good. And EtchApp is one of those things. And one of the co-founders is here. Her name is Ahryun Moon. Ahryun Moon.
That's correct.
Ahryun, I got
Ahryun,
it.
yeah.
Ahryun.
Yeah.
It's Korean.
Perfect. It's
Ahryun.
Korean,
What does it mean in Korean, Ahryun?
Ahryun means white lotus.
White Lotus, how
Yes.
beautiful. And your last name is Moon?
Moon.
So White Lotus Moon.
Yes.
Well, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
You've had quite an epic journey from the hackathon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You built a product at the hackathon, and now you've launched it.
Yes.
And it's in the iOS store. You've been getting a lot of press for it. What's happened since you launched this product, EtchApp?
So we launched last Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, I went to WWDC. I got very lucky. I met a lot of good people who work at Apple.
WWDC is?
worldwide developer conference.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Just for the people on the show who are
I
listening,
see.
they don't know.
Yeah.
This is when, how many developers are there? 5,000, 10,000 developers?
Yeah, 5,000, I think.
5,000 developers, all who are in the Apple ecosystem. So you met
Yes.
people from Apple?
So I met people who work in the marketing department of Apple, and they actually loved the idea, loved the app. So I showcased the app to them. So they introduced me to the right people, and then they introduced me to another
The really right people.
Yeah, exactly, another really right people, and they featured us. So
You got featured in the App Store.
Yes.
Okay,
I
so
can
let's see all
even-
this. Show the product, because you know what I realize is we haven't told the audience what Etch is. What is EtchApp? Show us.
Sure.
And you got good at demoing, by the way, I will say, because you were, to win, because there were maybe 200 teams who completed their projects at the Launch Hackathon 2015, and you were one of the top 5. You were a good presenter.
Oh, thank you
You're
so
naturally
much.
a good presenter, or did you learn that somewhere?
I'm totally
you were.
not.
So then you're a bad presenter who had a great product.
I don't really remember what happened because it went by so fast. But
Big blur.
I totally enjoyed the time on stage.
Yeah, you did great,
So-
by the way. You were actually really good. So show the product.
Okay, so this is Etch. It's in the App Store. We are featured right in the middle of the feature page.
Amazing. And you're right
Yeah.
next to Jet, which is the new Amazon competitor.
Yeah.
Featured as best new apps.
Yeah.
That has got to be an amazing moment for a developer and an
I
entrepreneur.
was jumping up and down. I was
Literally
screaming
jumping
like
up and
a
down.
crazy person. Yeah.
So great. Okay, so it's a
So-
utility. It says Etch Keyboard Utility.
Yep.
So what is Etch? We're going to find out right now. So you're loading the
So-
app. Here we go.
Yep. So Etch is a keyboard app.
A
And-
keyboard app.
Yes.
Got it.
So what's kind of interesting about this keyboard, let me show you the keyboard first. So this is how the keyboard looks. So you see those like funny symbols up there, right? So each symbol actually maps to text or action. So
Uh-huh.
once you start drawing on the keyboard, you can see the 3x3 grid.
Ah.
No, so that matched to something. So what you can do is you can map it to a text. So for example, that one line in the middle,
Okay.
I stored all my email, my name, my address, and everything in here, so I can use it when I sign up or something or.
Okay, so you're on a sign-up form for a new website. Instead of having to
Right.
type your email, what do you do?
So exactly. So let's say I go to HomeJoy. That's a sign up page. I just click that, and that's easy as that.
Ah.
And then,
So just swiping down the 3 dots, put your email in.
right, exactly.
So you trained it on how to do that.
Yeah. So all the shapes are configurable by the user.
Mm-hmm.
So the shapes actually mean something to you.
Okay.
And
So what does the $sign do?
oh, $sign. This one is not part of our initial version, but this is actually part of what we made at the Launch Hackathon. It was
yeah.
a Coinbase integration, which we won the grand prize for the
Right.
Coinbase
Right.
category. Yeah. So what's more interesting about this is not only does it store text, it also do something. So let's say you're looking for a sushi restaurant nearby and draw a Y symbol.
Oh, and
It
look,
looks
it's firing
for-
up Yelp.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to leave.
Exactly.
You didn't have to leave the chat window in iMessage. You're still texting with your friend.
Exactly.
And you did the keyboard shortcut for Yelp. So you
Yeah.
type sushi, you type the Y for Yelp, and boom, it gave you like a little mini listing. So you hit the API for Yelp,
Yep.
and boom, there it is.
Exactly.
Taking out like 5 steps.
Exactly. So you don't have to double tap on the home button, go to another app, copy and paste, and so on. So
And this is a keyboard. So
a keyboard.
You can change keyboards now on the iPhone.
yes.
This is a feature they launched, what, a year ago?
Yeah. It shipped with iOS 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been about a year.
And this is why emojis are becoming so popular, is that they expanded the keyboard so you can rotate through the keyboards by hitting that little globe, I guess, in the
Right.
bottom left of your keyboard on your iPhone.
Yeah.
You rotate through the keyboards, and you came up with this unique idea of swiping gestures to do essentially macros or to
Exactly.
launch other apps.
Actually, we cannot launch other apps. It's against Apple's policy.
you can't launch other apps.
However, we use the links to our advantage. So basically, we hit up the API. We let people share the links.
Got it.
Yeah.
So what else can I fire off in the keyboard? I mean, I saw Yelp. That's really good. I saw
Sure.
Coinbase. You can transfer money with doing the dollar
Yes.
symbol.
Another thing this is my favorite actually. this
Upside down
triangle.
Okay.
You can share your location right there.
Ah,
So it
fast.
says, yeah, we are at WeWork.
Golden Gate.
Yes.
Yes, that's where
So
our beautiful
people-
office is and my studio. Thank you, WeWork.
Yeah,
A
so
great
the
place to work.
recipient can just click on the link and look at the location in the map.
So you did an upside down triangle for Foursquare
Yes, Foursquare
or location.
and location, yes.
So it just uses the Foursquare API
exactly.
to do all this.
Yeah.
Now this leads me to believe, and I think you showed this at the festival, this, I mean, on a keyboard, I think you're saving somebody arguably, I don't know, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute maybe, even if they had to go open another app.
Mm-hmm.
But this gets pretty powerful when you're using the Apple Watch, doesn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So Apple Watch API doesn't support what we want to do yet. But it's getting there.
Ah.
So once we can develop for Apple Watch, it'll be on there and it'll be extremely powerful.
So you can take your watch, flip it up,
Yes,
and draw the triangle.
exactly.
And it would just give you an option of which Foursquare location to check into.
Yep,
You click that, and it tweets it for you.
exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
So super fast.
it is. And we also have another, so it's useful, but at the same time, we want it to be kind of fun for people. So let's draw this little G.
Gee.
Oh, I guess I didn't download it yet.
Oh.
So we have a store page in the app, so you can download Giphy.
Oh, I see. Look, so you just downloaded Giphy for animated GIFs.
Yes.
YouTube, search Google, Spotify, Google image search.
Yeah.
Share your location. I saw that one already.
Yep.
Great.
So you can do Giphy.
Ah, so you did Giphy.
Yeah.
And now it's just showing you random Giphies because you didn't put a keyword in.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
if you
but
put
you
in,
can search.
well, yeah. So put in Leonardo DiCaprio,
How do you?
DiCaprio. Don't worry, it'll fix your spelling. It knows.
Is that how
That's
you?
sure good enough.
spell
Now let's see
it?
what happens. DIC. Let's see if it gets Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh,
Boom.
got it. Yeah.
So this is why the reason I say do Leonardo DiCaprio
Uh-huh.
is because he is the master of the GIF. He's like such a good actor that he has these like great reaction shots.
Yeah.
So the Wolf of Wall Street animated GIFs are just tremendous.
I see.
I've lost a lot of hours sending these to people. This is why you listen to This Week in Startups, by the way, everybody, is for my incredible insights into animated GIFs and pop culture. All right, when we get back from the commercial break, this is a very important commercial break, I want to talk about how you navigate a relationship with Apple.
Sure.
Because now you're in the inner circle, but they have their own ideas of what gestures should be. They have some of their own projects. They have Siri. So how do you, as an entrepreneur, balance that relationship with Apple to get them to feature you? Maybe they want to buy you, invest in you, or maybe you're a competitor when we get back on This Week in Startups. Hey, everybody, let me tell you a little bit about InVision app. I use InVision app all the time with my designer, my product manager, my growth team to share mock-ups of our products. We take those mock-ups and we design them and we send them to clients, to partners, to investors. And we say, here is an InVision link. Open this on your iPhone, on your Android phone, and you can click through and see what this product that we're making is like. And when we're building websites, hey, put your comments on there. We have a partner. We have a big SmartCamp thing going on with IBM, SmartCamp 2015. You know, we can use InVision to share that website and say, hey, is there anything you want to change? And then have a threaded discussion. You can take all those discussions off of email, all those discussions out of the chat room. Listen, email and chat rooms have their place, but not in product design. InVision is like Slack, but for product design, right? So you have Slack for a general conversation. You have Gmail for, asynchronous communication. You have InVision for product excellence. You cannot make a great product without InVision. I am dead serious about that. Every startup I invest in, I show it to them. They ask them to send me links, and boy, does it work. It supercharges everything you do. I love this product. I love this product. I love this product. Get out of email, get out of chat rooms, and do what Twitter, Airbnb, Evernote, Adobe, and many more are doing. Prototype what you're doing in InVision. It just makes designers and teams and founders so much more efficient. Go to invisionapp.com/twist for 90 days free. That's their starter plan, free for 90 days, only at envisionapp.com/twist, envisionapp.com/twist. And everybody thank EnvisionApp on Twitter. I thank them for making a great product and for supporting independent media like This Week in Startups. Let's get back to this amazing episode. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to This Week in Startups. I'm your host, Jason Calacanis. You can find me on the interwebs. I am on the internet. I have access. And on Twitter, I'm at Jason. On Instagram, I'm at Jason Calacanis. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get at Jason from the guy who's got it. Somebody can work that out for me. That'd be great. I'll give you $1,000 if you can get me that Instagram handle. Somebody want to go and work that out for me? And the show is TWI Startups on Twitter and TWI Startups. You can get to the show at thisweekinstartups.com, and you can reach us at. Do we have an email for the show, by the way? Is that like a show email, Jackie? Do we like tell people like feedback at? Yeah, we need to get that. I don't think we have that. So we should. Oh yeah, you know what you can do? Ask Jason at launch.co. If you ever have a question for us, just email askjason@launch.co. All right. Today on the program, one of the Launch Hackathon winners from last year's Launch Hackathon. And if you want information on Launch Festival and Launch Hackathon, go to launchfestival.com or launch.co, and you'll see when the next event is. It's going to be in the first week of March. Ahryun Moon is with us, and she is the co-founder of Etch. You can check out EtchApp, Etch for me on Twitter, etch4.me on the web, the World Wide Web. And you launched the product, 25,000 users in the first week or two, huh?
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Now, you meet the people from Apple. Now, don't they, with the watch, because the watch isn't supporting Etch yet, but we'll assume it will, don't they have their own gestures and stuff that they want to do? And you kind of came out with yours first, didn't you?
Right. So their gesture functionality that they have in the watch is, it doesn't necessarily do a lot of utility stuff. It's more like you draw something cute and send it to your friend type of thing.
Yeah, it's for friends, right?
Yeah.
You can draw a little heart or whatever.
Right. But with Etch, what we want to do is we basically want to make it super useful because your watch is so small and drawing comes naturally. And if you can draw something to get things done on your watch, that's where we want to go, and I think that has some potential.
So when you go meet with them, did they immediately start talking to you about, hey, you're interested in selling this company? Did that come up?
Oh, no. I wish it did
well, if
come
they
up,
did,
but not yet.
If they did say, like, hey, we want to buy your company, and you're just starting the company, would you just sell it to them? Or would you say, hey, that's a good sign that I have to go raise money because this could be big?
That's the latter, yeah. We see a lot of potential in it. The fact that we can actually integrate anything, any services that provide content into our app, that makes our app extremely useful and powerful. And I hope users find it that way. And we don't think we can sell it to anyone at this point.
You want to keep building.
Yes.
So are you full-time on this now?
I am full-time.
You're full-time on it now. So you guys were all working at places. You went to the hackathon on the weekend?
I was actually full-time back then. So can I tell you a little bit of my personal background story?
Yes, please.
So I was not a programmer.
Oh.
I was a financial analyst. And I wanted to make something useful in this life. I was looking at Excel the whole day. And I got bored out of my mind. So I quit my full-time job. I moved to San Francisco, and I just taught myself how to code.
Really?
Yeah.
You just had this epiphany one day. You're at Goldman Sachs or wherever you're working. In New York?
No, I was in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. You're working for some big bank or something?
No, I was working for a semiconductor company.
But you're working for the CFO doing financial analysis.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you know what? This is not what I want from life.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you just had the gumption to quit.
Yeah, people call me crazy.
Your parents must have not have been happy.
They were fine with me.
They were? They were okay with you being an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Okay.
They supported me. They actually support me anything in any endeavor that I go into. So
that's great.
Yeah.
So where did you come up with the idea for Etch?
So we knew that Apple Watch was coming out, and there were a lot of watches out there in the market.
Samsung had the watch out. Moto, Google had their Motorola watch out, right?
Right. So we were thinking about a different interface on this small, tiny little device to where these devices can be more useful
Got it.
than just a glorified watch.
Got it.
So I was learning Chinese as my New Year's resolution, and
You're Korean, though.
I'm Korean.
You're Korean,
so
yeah.
I don't know that much Chinese.
Yeah.
So I was learning, and I was like, oh, what if I incorporate this this concept of a symbol which has a lot of meaning inside into this small user interface.
Got it.
So that's how I came
Because
up
in the
with
Chinese language, sometimes a symbol can mean a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's the most a symbol can mean in your learning of the Chinese language? Like, can it mean like a sentence full of stuff, or does it usually mean like 2 words or 3 words?
Right. So I don't know much about Chinese.
Yeah.
I kind of quit after I started working on it. But as far as my knowledge goes, each symbol packs a lot of information. And each symbol actually has like background story and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's how I came up with the idea.
Do you think that this kind of etch-like interface, doing gestures and whatnot, because it's a little bit reminds me of Palm Script, except Palm Script was for Palm Pilots. You were probably in high school or kindergarten when the Palm came out in the 90s. But, you would swipe just to write the letter S or a T, because they didn't think that you would actually be able to touch the screen, so you swiped. It didn't have the same resolution to actually hit a keyboard.
Yeah.
It was too difficult. You had to use a little pointer, But do you think that this interface is more efficient than, say, using Siri and voice? And when would I choose to use this versus Siri, do you think?
So Siri, by default, you have to talk to it, right? You have to talk to the device.
Right.
And oftentimes, it doesn't get it right. It takes a lot of time for the network to send the result back to your device.
Yeah, that's one of the things I never understood about it. Is like, why do they make you go up to the network like so much? Like, they should have a massive package of information locally, because it does, if you're on a bad network, it's like
Exactly.
it takes 10 seconds or 20 seconds.
Yeah. If you don't have network access, you cannot use Siri.
Right.
So, and also talking to a device is kind of awkward. And when it's like really loud in the settings, it's kind of hard to use Siri. So
It's not discreet.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and talking to your watch, you kind of look like an idiot.
Yeah, it's
Share my location on Twitter
with
David.
David
Over.
who?
I feel like I have to say over at the end. Siri, share my location with David. Over. I mean, it's really, you do look like a dork.
Exactly.
And then it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah, they get David somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
I do like the idea, though, I have to tell you, of being able to, because I have the watch. I don't really use the Apple Watch. I leave it at home now. I found it not very compelling. I have to say, I'm really disappointed in it.
Yeah.
I love my Fitbit, and I love my Basis watch because it has a very good app. But the Apple Watch, to me, it doesn't have a killer app yet.
Right.
And I think that yours might be it, because when I'm wearing the watch, it feels very passive to me. You get the notifications, you look, but I can get the notifications on any watch now.
Right.
And it's nice to get the notification, but the way you have to scroll and like it gives it, dismiss or one choice, it's not robust enough.
Right.
I want to create macros like you're talking about. It's almost like creating this like little script where I could, have a certain pattern that would just send my wife a note that says, I'm on my way home, here's my current location, let me know if you need to pick me,
Right.
And my ETA.
Right.
As opposed to, like, I can't do that for my watch, but I want to come up with those shortcuts.
Exactly. So Etch is completely 100% configurable by the user.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know how we went from like website to mobile? Like the entire paradigm of design changed. But at the beginning,
Certainly.
people were trying to fit the entire website into this small little screen. I feel the transformation is the same way when we go from mobile to Apple Watch or any kind of smartwatch. And I feel like this like drawing gesture to get something done has definitely a potential. Yeah.
Well, listen, I am a huge fan of your team. You guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
And I think like you've really proved it. I was a little bit, when I see these things at the hackathon, I look at them, with a very open mind. But typically, I think, most of the time it's going to be just a project that maybe doesn't ever get finished. So I salute you for being one of the 10% that actually makes it to market, or even maybe 5%. It's very hard because the hackathon ended 6 months ago,
Right.
and you never stopped working. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The hackathon was an excellent opportunity for us. If it weren't for the launch hackathon, we probably would not have come up with the idea.
Really?
And finished building the
So
product.
you came to the hackathon without an idea?
No, actually, we went to the hackathon. We wanted to go to the hackathon, and we brainstormed.
Got it.
Yeah.
So on the way in, you were like, hey, we got to win this. Yeah, you guys had a very winning mentality. May I ask, how did you hear about the hackathon? Just
Well,
randomly on Twitter or something?
Everyone knows about launch hackathon. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good for my ego. Thank you for saying that. That's fantastic. I love it. Can you come on the program every week and validate my career? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're Korean. You came here. When did you leave Korea?
When I was 16.
16.
Yeah.
And the internet in Korea and the design of products in Korea versus America, what would you say is the difference? Now that you've lived, I guess you're 25 years old, or how old are you?
I wouldn't rather not say.
Oh, okay. Okay, 30, I'm not sure. All right, anyway, I say 22 maybe.
Okay.
But anyway, you've lived here for some number of years.
Yes.
So what's the difference between the two markets in terms of this?
So Korean apps or websites are very busy. The design-wise, everything's kind of flying around. There are a lot of different components. Whereas in America, everything's kind of simple. You kind of go in depth, right? You click something and then you click another thing and you go into this funnel, right? So that's definitely a difference, and I have a really good reason why that's that way.
Tell me.
Because have you ever been to Korea before?
I've been to 3 or 4 times, yeah.
Okay. When you go to like a really busy street, like there are a lot of different neon signs.
It's chaos. It feels like chaos.
Chaos, exactly.
Yeah, it feels like Blade Runner.
Yeah, exactly.
Even I would say it feels more like Blade Runner to me than even Tokyo.
Yeah.
I know Blade Runner was modeled after Tokyo, but it really does feel like Seoul is even more busy.
It is, yeah. It's crazy when you go at night, like there are like lights everywhere.
Right.
That's exactly how the design is in Korea.
Yeah, look, here's Daum. We can pull up Daum is the Yahoo of...
Oh, I love this site actually.
Yeah, Daum is like... And what I heard was the reason they made these like really long pages and very busy ones, and Naver too, although they seem to not be as infinite scroll as they used to be. They used to be infinitely like scrolling. They came up with that concept, I believe.
Yeah.
But they had slow connections, right? So if the connection was slow, you could like walk away, get a cup of coffee, and then come back.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. So everything's very busy over there. But you grew up with a very high-speed connection, right?
Yeah.
Like 100 megabit fiber, what? And high-speed phones.
Yeah, everything's fairly fast there.
Yeah.
Internet, pretty much the internet coverage is really good too.
Yeah.
Everyone has access to the internet. It's extremely fast. And
Does everything still run on Internet Explorer? That was something I found very crazy, is that everybody had
Isn't
Windows.
that crazy? Yeah.
And everybody was coding in .asp or craziness. Like, and then when I went to Seoul University, everybody was... Is it Seoul University?
Yeah.
University of Seoul?
Uh-huh.
Is it
Seoul
Seoul
Univer-
University or University of Seoul?
Seoul University.
Seoul University.
Yeah.
And what's the technical college? There's another school in Seoul that's the technical one.
No, I
Anyway,
lived Korea way too long.
Everybody was learning .NET, .asp,
Yeah.
ASP pages, all this Microsoft stack. It was.
Right.
Is it still that way?
I think so.
Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, not a lot of people use iPhone there.
Yeah, everything is SK Telecom.
Yes, Samsung phones.
Samsung phones,
Yeah.
but now they use Android.
They use Android.
Now
yeah.
they use Android, so everything's being built for the Android side.
Right.
So are you going to be on Android as well? And
We are actually in development for Android
really?
version. Yeah.
so what's the next step for Etch as we wrap up here? Where are you going to go with this?
So Etch is built to where any services can provide content into our keyboard. So we're looking for partners who want to provide these contents into our keyboard.
Got it.
Yeah,
So API partners.
exactly.
Got it.
So that's what we're
Well,
looking
listen,
for.
everybody can follow Ahryun. Ahryun.
Ahryun.
Ahryun. Ahryun.
Yeah.
Ahryun.
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 Yeah, that's good.
Ahryun is good, yeah. I got to
Yeah.
say it a little bit faster. Ahryun. Yeah.
Ahryun, yeah.
Got it. Everybody can follow Ahryun, Ahryun.
Yes.
You were able to get the Twitter handle like me for your first name. You're in the first name club.
Yeah, not a lot of people have the name.
No, you got there early.
Yeah.
And the site is etch4.me, etch4.me. Go check it out. Download it on your iPhone. Give her some feedback. And we'll see all of you at the... Are you going to come to the hackathon again and win it again? You thinking about coming again? Build your 2.0?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll come.
No, maybe you should come. You know what you should try to do is build the 2.0 of the. If you make something super impressive, like if you can really like in the next, not just the Android version of the same thing, but if you have a new product to launch at the Launch Festival,
okay.
we'll give you a fast track review to get on the main stage again.
Oh, yeah.
Got to be something new.
Oh, that's exciting.
You can't show the same stuff.
Okay.
Because then people go, I saw this already.
Right.
All right, listen. Congratulations and continued success, and we'll be right back. Listen, I could talk to you all day about Squarespace. I love this product. All of our sites are built on Squarespace. Why? Because I can just say, hey, Bryce, hey, Ashley, hey, Jackie, just change this on the Squarespace site. Hey, can we get this up on the Launch Festival site? Hey, can we get this up on the Launch Mobile site? Hey, on the Scale Conference, on this, on that. It instantly gets done. It's easy to use. Squarespace makes beautiful websites so simply. They have all these great design templates. You pick one, and all of a sudden, it looks like you spent $250,000 on your website. Literally, these designers are, a lot of designers are very upset. A lot of web shops are very upset about Squarespace. I've seen this many times where they would normally spend, people would spend $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 on a website, and Squarespace does it for dollars a month, like $10 a month. It's unbelievably affordable, and everything, it starts at $8 a month, by the way. Everything is responsive. So when you pull it up on your iPad or your phone, you have to pinch and zoom to see the website. It all just works. And you're not at, bent over a barrel by all these crazy developer freelancers who then disappear for months. They go, on a hike and they go bike across the United States while your website still isn't responsive or still isn't working. You need to have a professional group behind your website, and that is Squarespace. They also support e-commerce now, and they just keep adding features. Like they have a calendar feature that's really good right now, and there's all these little plugins and little, craftsmanship that make the site look so good. I love the product. You can start your free trial today with no credit card required, and when you decide to sign up for Squarespace, please use the offer code TWiST to get 10% off your first purchase. Squarespace, build it beautiful. Build it beautiful. Please. It's a lot of ugly stuff going on in the world. A lot of ugly websites. Just use Squarespace and make the world beautiful. That's not their tagline, but I love beautiful websites. When I see a beautiful website for a conference, I buy a ticket. When I see a beautiful website for a product, I buy the product. When I see a beautiful website for a service or a startup, I want to meet with them. Go to squarespace.com and have a great, beautiful website. It's trusted by millions of people, including some of the most respected brands of the world. Their technology is state-of-the-art, secure, easy to use, scalable. You don't need to have a developer do it. I could talk for days. Thank you, Squarespace, for being one of my longest-running sponsors for This Week in Startups. I truly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Okay, let's get back to the program. Hey everybody, it's Jason Calacanis, and this is an Ask Jason episode. What is Ask Jason? It's when you ask Jason, that's me, questions about your startup, your life, anything. This was one of the most popular segments of the show, and we have so many great guests on the program, This Week in Startups now, that we forget, oh my God, people love the Ask Jason segment. So we want to bring it back, and we're asking people to send us video questions. If you have a question, you can just say, at TWI Startups, I have a question, and then we'll get in touch with you, we'll record it, and then we will answer your question on the show. A crisp, concise question is always appreciated. Let's get to our first question.
Hey Jason. With the recent passage of Regulation A of the Jobs Act, startups can now raise up to $50 million in the open market. Add to this the proliferation of startup equity funding websites like AngelList and AngelList syndicates as yourself. Both of these, compounded with the skyrocketing late-stage startup valuations, has gotten the public really excited about startup investing. Where do you see this trend heading? For example, do you see this startup investing going the mainstream, that financial advisors are actually recommending startups as an alternative asset class to their clients? Or do you think this is just a trend that'll hit a ceiling at one point and drop off from there? Curious to hear where you see the next 5 to 10 years unfolding.
Okay. This is a great question. For those of you who don't know, there are two classes of investors here in the United States. One is called an accredited investor, and one is called a non-accredited investor. My history may not be perfect, but essentially what the SEC did, the Securities and Exchange Commission, is they said we have to protect people. We call them in our industry, or I call them, civilians. These are people who don't have money to lose. They're not rich, in other words. They're non-accredited investors. And so the SEC said, hey, these civilians, these non-accredited investors, we got to protect them. We got to protect them. We can't have them out there buying shares in mines in California, thinking they're going to hit gold during the gold rush because somebody's running around to a retirement home in the 30s and 40s getting people to give over their life savings, thinking they're going to 10x or 100x because they're going to strike oil or gold. So that's the history of these regulations. Of course, they're antiquated, and people don't need as much protection today, and we want to have a fluidity in the market. So when there was 15, 20% unemployment in our country during the financial crisis, there was a lot of people who were like, hey, we need to create more jobs. We need to loosen up the fundraising of startups because a lot of jobs come from startups. This is all great. Now, what does it mean in practice? What it means in practice is you used to not be able to do something called solicitation, which is tell everybody you're raising a fund. Because if you do general solicitation, in other words, you just get up on stage somewhere and say, hey, I'm raising money, give me your money. Now you've triggered in the SEC's mind, and you should talk to all your lawyers, et cetera, disclaimer. But you basically triggered in the SEC's mind that you're generally soliciting and that those people need some sort of extra protection against people running scams, Ponzi schemes, et cetera. So with the regulations passing, we now have a couple of different categories of fundraising. One is called crowdfunding, and that is Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Tilt. And what happens on a crowdfunding site is you want to see a new product in the world, like the Pebble watch. We had a great episode for Pebble on This Week in Startups. And you give money, and you get a T-shirt, or you get the watch itself. It's basically pre-ordering. You don't get equity in the company that makes Pebble. In other words, you might be buying the Apple Watch, but you're not getting a share of Apple. And that's fine. That's just like pre-ordering a product. No big deal. You bought tickets to a concert that did not yet occur. You don't need any protection from the SEC. But once you buy a share of the company, when you start investing in shares of the company, that's when the SEC gets involved. So then there was AngelList. AngelList allowed a syndicate, a group of investors, to invest in a company. But it was only accredited investors, right? The accredited investors, and this started just over a year ago. And of course, people know I have one of the largest and most active AngelList syndicates, along with Tim Ferriss and Gil Pencina and Dave Moore and a couple of other great people. And those are all accredited people. So there's 700 people who are accredited investors. That means they have a net worth of a couple $1 million. They can afford to lose $5,000 in a startup easily. The latest round is the latest wrinkle in the story is that non-accredited investors, which, because of this act called the Startup Act, they are now able to invest in equity. My view on it is, listen, if you can go bet on the Knicks to win the championship next year, that's a pretty good long shot, isn't it? They can, in Vegas, why shouldn't you be able to invest in a startup? So I'm pretty pro people being able to do what they want with their money. I'm a libertarian. And then if people commit crimes, those people go to jail. Those people can get sued. I think there is a system for that. But I have to say that when I saw the first equity crowdfunding projects for non-accredited investors launched recently in the summer of 2015, this all became okay, it felt like a bit of a scam to me. It felt a little icky. And the reason is the companies that are great can raise money from accredited investors. They don't need to dip down into this audience. So there is something called negative signaling that occurs. If you try to raise money from non-professional investors, maybe you're not a professional CEO. And it's just a little bit too much salesmanship and P.T. Barnum for me and my taste. When I give a syndicate, when I tell my syndicate I'm an angel investing in a company, I say, hey, I'm putting $50K into this company. The AngelList syndicate, then they get to make a decision. But I don't force them and I don't try to sell them hard. Oh my God, this is the next Uber. Oh my God, it's the next Facebook. Oh my God, it's the next Thumbtack. No, I just say, I'm investing. You're in my syndicate. If you'd like to join along, feel free. So I have a little bit of concern about this, but I also think it's a tremendous opportunity. At some point, somebody with a love product, like Reddit, let's say, could raise $50 million from their users. Or I could say for the Launch Festival and Launch, hey, I want to raise $10 million. And I want to take Launch Festival to 10 different cities. Anybody who wants to, I'm going to get 100,000 people to put $100 in each, and boom, we're 10,000 people to put in $1,000 each and raise $10 million to take Launch Festival on the road. And instead of just selling you a ticket, I am selling you a share in the company. So I think it's got great potential. We're we're going to have a lot of issues around it. And so I think the Syndicate project and AngelList, great. Kickstarter, great. I'm a little bit concerned, frankly, about the non-accredited investors because of the poor companies and also the platforms that are supporting it. I'm a little bit suspect of because they're doing too much marketing. I wish they wouldn't be marketing so hard. Great question.
Hey Jason, I'm Steve and here's my question. I've been working for about 2 months on African Foodie, which is a mobile app to discover African cuisine. We currently have a mobile web app live and you can find it on africanfoodie.com. It's getting financially extremely hard for me to keep going and even to sustain myself. Partly because I had a startup that failed before, and I need a bit of cash right now to keep this startup going. So unfortunately, friends and family are not an option for me because even if I'm based in London, I'm originally from Africa, and investing in startup is something that is not culturally acceptable where I come from. So what would you recommend in terms of raising a bit of money to keep going for folks like me who don't have that opportunity to raise the initial 10K or 20K to keep their projects going? Love the show. Thanks.
This is a great question. I get it all the time. Thanks for asking. When you're bootstrapping, and especially when you're in another market where, let's face it, entrepreneurship is not as coveted and accepted and risk-taking is not as embraced as the United States of America or specifically the Bay Area, it can be difficult. This is why I think having a client, a patron for your product is a great idea. When you're doing something like SaaS, business software as a service, enterprise software, it's great to be able to say, before you build a product, to make some mock-ups in your spare time and go to 10 clients and say, hey, if you become my client and pay for the product for a year in advance, 2 years in advance, I'll give you exclusive access, I'll customize the product for you, whatever it is, and I just want you to pay for a year in advance. I did this with my first magazine, Silicon Valley Reporter. I got people to buy the ads for the year. And I said, if 10 of you buy 4 ads each, and I do it quarterly, I'll have 40 ads, and I'll sell them for $500 each. I'll have $20,000 to start my newsletter. It literally worked. So getting people to pay you in advance who believe in you, getting a lot of no's, but you only need to get a couple of yeses, right? So if you can find that $20,000 patron saint who wants to underwrite it, to see the product, live in the world, and you can pre-sell them, that's great. If not, there's a really easy fallback, which is you work for 20, 30 hours a week as a consultant. Hopefully you've got a great skill like design, UX, growth, being a developer, being a salesperson, and you put 20, 30 hours a week into that consultancy, and then you put your other 30, 40 hours a week. I'm assuming you're a hustler and you work 60 hours a week. You put your other half time into your startup, and you just slowly, incrementally make it better. That's not the end of the world. A true entrepreneur is not going to stop working on their project just because they run out of money. They're going to hack it together. They're going to do it part-time. They're going to keep learning. And let's face it, if you don't have the skills to then get 20 or 30 hours a week of high-paying consulting work, then you have to step back for a second and say, if I don't have great skills, why am I doing a startup yet? You should be in the skills refinement period of your career. Early in your career, you're refining your skills and you're getting practice at building stuff and, just becoming good at something. Then you do a startup. So if you can't get 10, 20, 30 hours of work a week at $50, $75, or $100, you're doing it wrong. Go get that skill, become a highly coveted person, sell yourself for 20, 30 hours a week, and then put that other money to work in your startup. Great question. Thank you for it.
Hey everybody. Hey Jason. This is Connor Henderson, Assistant Professor of Marketing at University of Oregon. And I use This Week in Startup cases like Home Hero in my class as case studies. Half my students love you, half my students are not fans. I'm curious if you've done any research or thought into kind of understanding who resonates with your style, etc. Looking at the camera like this. And also I was curious if there's particular metrics around customers, customer loyalty, customer satisfaction that you encourage your portfolio companies to test in A/B testing, different promotions, programs, website design, etc. Cool, thanks.
Okay, Connor, thank you for that. Yes, I can be polarizing at times. I realize that. I'm blunt. I'm a bit of an acquired taste. Here's the thing. With me, you always know that I'm going to be blunt and I'm going to be telling the truth and I'm going to be super honest with you. Some people don't like that. And those two groups of people you refer to Some of them might be super fans, and then other ones are not fans of Jason. There's actually a common word in the English language. It's called winners and losers. So there's fans of Jason. Those are obviously the winners, and there's the losers who are not fans. I'm joking, of course. Listen, I'm not here to get anybody's approval. I'm here to have interesting conversations with startups. And I'm here to have a blunt, engaging conversation. So I know sometimes I rub people the wrong way. I don't care. Really, sincerely, I don't. What I care about is, am I in the moment having a great conversation with a great entrepreneur? And secondarily, yeah, I want people to listen to it and enjoy the program, I guess. But I don't really care beyond the fact that I'm engaged. And if I'm engaged, I like to think that the people who care about this topic, startups, will be engaged. Now, the second question you had, and thank you for being a super fan, by the way, and thank you for using the show in your college. I know a lot of colleges and a lot of clubs and entrepreneurship clubs watch the show together. I think it's an awesome thing to do because, listen, we get great guests. I have a great 4-time Emmy Award-winning producer, Jackie, who gets all these great guests. So the show is awesome, and it's great for students to start watching it. How do you get feedback for your startup, and what do I advise them to do? Well, obviously, Net Promoter Score, NPS, if you don't know Net Promoter Score, is absolutely, the gold standard in getting feedback as far as most people are concerned. And, if you don't know what NPS is, Net Promoter Score, it's very simple. How likely are you to refer this product or service to one of your friends? Tell us on a scale of 1 to 10. Everybody's gotten these surveys in the mail or gotten them after you get an email with your receipt, maybe. If a person scores 1 to 6, they're a detractor, you get -1. If the person scores 9 and 10, they're an advocate, you get +1. If they're 7 or 8, they're kind of indifferent, and you get 0 points. And then some people have products that score a 20, a 40, a 60. You can go type highest Net Promoter Scores in the world, and you can find them, right? This is a great piece of feedback. I think open-ended feedback is super powerful. So just telling people, how could this be better? Or how could we have served you better in your app, in your email? And you have to think about, what are the touch points for your customers? So back in the day, when I was starting in business in the 80s and the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, there was a big trend: outsource your customer support. Send your customers to India, to the Philippines, Ireland, anywhere, but at your office, because it's a cost center and you can just save money. So why wouldn't you save? And just Microsoft literally would send you to a person in India to, try to help you get Microsoft Windows installed on your computer. And then I met a guy named Dave Nealman, I believe his name is, and he started JetBlue. And he was like, I'm using people working from home, usually stay-at-home moms and dads, and paying them $15 an hour in Utah. Seems like Utah has a lot of people who want to work from home. And I love the fact that they're Americans and they work full-time for our company, and they're not outsourced, because what they talk about, they're actually salespeople. They're actually doing product development. Getting open-ended feedback and talking to people when they have problems, you can turn them into advocates. And this is why Tony Hsieh was so revolutionary when he told everybody inside of Zappos, you can do anything you want to help customers. And literally, somebody didn't get their shoes for a wedding, famously, and somebody who was a customer advocate at Zappos got on a plane, found the person at the wedding, and got them their tuxedo shoes. Or somebody spent an hour or 2 on the phone with somebody. They have these record-long phone calls. In the old days, it was get off the phone. So you want to talk to your customers. There's a lot of great pieces of software, from Intercom to just tons of other ones, Localytics, I think, where they're integrating into the product, HubSpot, encouraging people to give feedback, and then starting dialogues with them. So in any way you can talk to those early customers, the product manager, the product manager should be doing customer support so they can learn about what's wrong with the product directly from the customers. The customer support people should not look at themselves as the cost center in the company. They're the opportunity center, because they can come up with great ideas on how to make the product better. Salespeople fall into this category as well. I always tell people, salespeople at your current company, at your startup, put 50% of their budget on product development and 50% on sales and marketing. Because when they get on the phone, we could do a third marketing, a third customer support, a third product, and a third sales. Because a lot of times, the salespeople find the truth. So I was talking to the sales team at Signpost, which is one of the investments I've done that's done tremendous. So proud of the team at Signpost. And at Signpost, those sales executives are talking to local businesses every day, asking them what their problems are and what software and features they can build. And you know what? one of those 200, 300 salespeople, they might have the idea that 10X is the company. In fact, they're most likely to have the next idea, not the founder. The founder may have great ideas in the beginning, but you really want to talk to your customers. Listening labs is another way to get feedback, where you bring a customer in and you just talk to them, or customer interviews is another one. There's all these different styles and ways of doing it. You can have people come in and do a user testing lab, you can do a listening lab, and it's all worth doing. And I think most startups don't do enough of it, frankly. So what I'm trying to do with my startups is I run little clinics for them where I'll bring people in to do user testing, and I bring in a user testing person, and I share the cost amongst 5 startups, 6 startups. It's absolutely imperative that you get feedback. And if you can build it into the product, that's the height of product design today. So when you finish your Uber ride, what does it ask you to do? Rate the driver, give feedback. Oh, you gave it a 3? Then it opens up the highlight and says, what was the issue? Driving quality, car quality, whatever. This is the height of customer feedback, and you can get it in real time. So you can be like, you know what? In this city, things are going wrong on the weekends. In this city, things are going wrong during the week. Oh my God, the passengers are getting poor ratings in their Ubers on the weekends and after midnight. Oh, they're drunk. Oh, the drivers are getting bad ratings during rush hour. Oh, there's gridlock. They're blaming it on the drivers. It's so much data, so much amazing stuff. So I really think you got to really empower everybody in the organization to be talking to customers and getting feedback. Awesome question. And next time I'm in Oregon, I would love to stop by your class and do a fireside chat. Thank you for that question. I appreciate it, Connor.
Hey, Jason. Why is everybody so obsessed with finding investors? It's so cheap to fund ideas these days. It's really tempting just to do everything on our own. Shouldn't we be actually spending more time building product?
All right, so the question is, should you spend your time building great product or raising money? Listen, if you can build a great product without having to raise a bunch of money, that's great. You keep all the equity for yourself. But angel investors and investors are there for a reason. They have experience, and they might be able to help you go faster. The one thing I will say is don't become super addicted to pleasing investors and VCs. Become super addicted to pleasing and delighting customers. That's what's important. The VCs are going to, come and go. It's great that you were able to raise money from them and got them excited, but they're not your customers in 99.9% of cases. Really focus on the customers. If you don't need to raise money, don't. Just build the product, and then you can always add investors later. In fact, as an investor myself, if I see somebody doesn't need the money, that makes me want to be involved with them even more, because I'm like, okay, this person's going to do it without money. They're really focused on the right things. They must think they can get to profitability without the money. Fantastic. I love it. So great question, and keep on building your product. Product, customer, and then investor. But work on the product, the customer, and actually your team. Those things are much more important than the investors. The investors can play a pivotal role at times, but no company, or very few companies, say, this investor at this moment in time made the company the success it is today. It just doesn't happen that often. There are times when an investor can save a company, an investor can have a great insight. 99.59% of the time, it's the founder, the customer, and the team that gets that startup to success. Great question. Thank you.